Dinesh D'Souza, for those of you that don't know, and you shouldn't, has a podcast with 620,000 subscribers on YouTube. Over 500,000 subscribers. And yet, let me check this. I want to let's jump in. I want to see what the viewership is on these kind of things.
Why general?
Hello. Let's see. In general, so if he puts, this is funny. So Dinesh D'Souza has this page where he puts his stuff up. All of the stuff, these are all his videos recently, his uploads. If he puts a picture of Jen Psaki on here and says something about it, 26,000 views. If he's in the picture, the pictures drop off precipitously. There's a video of Joe Biden, 79,000 on the thumbnail. If someone else is in it with him, it will double his numbers or half theirs, depending on how you want to look at it. Fox News reporter demolishes DOD official. That's a lot of views. Here's a picture of Biden, 39,000 views. But if Dinesh is in the picture of his own show, he has a hard time cracking 11K. And then beyond all that, hello. And on this one, he's got 18,000, which is a big turning point for him because Sebastin Gorka's on. So 19, because I don't know if they air it on OAN when he has somebody on as a guest, but it's interesting how if it wasn't for Sebastin Gorka bringing his hardcore 10,000 to his hardcore 10,000, they wouldn't be that. No, it's kind of stunning.
To welcome to the podcast, Dr. Sebastin Gorka,
who's an oral proctologist. He was a specialist who worked on Trump for several months during his presidency. He was in charge of blowing smoke, apparently.
Is a political strategist. He's a media pundit. My podcast is sponsored by Salem. He's a Salem radio host.
Okay, so you guys can't get real guests, so they bump you together. Okay.
His show is called America First, and I want to mention his latest book, The War for America's Soul.
I'm sure it's selling like hotcakes, in that people might buy it if there's syrup on it.
Seb, what a pleasure to have you on the show. Let me begin by just talking about
Well, it's good to be here in a place where I've tacked up a flag.
This craziness that's going on in Afghanistan.
Oh, it's crazy.
And the sort of pathetic effort on the part of the Biden people to foist the blame on Trump.
I know. It's like Trump made the deal or something. It's weird. Who are these people?
Their argument appears to be Trump was going to withdraw. We actually did withdraw. And
yeah, that's pretty much it. Well said.
So the consequences are nothing more than Trump would have gotten had he actually made the decision to withdraw.
Which he didn't do.
Now,
but I guess we'll never know because he had every opportunity and did not.
Can you take apart this logic or illogic?
Yeah, please take it apart because Dinesh is having a hell of a time. He unfortunately in his description actually convinced half of his viewers that it's actually the way to go.
Should say.
Absolutely, but first things first, I'm delighted to be on your show. So excited to have you as part of...
Yes, we could tell you used your best camera and your best audio source to deliver. I mean, you're both on the same podcasting network, but you couldn't be bothered to... Yeah, all right.
The Salem stable and your podcast is superb, and God bless you for everything you've done for this nation as a fellow legal...
Well, I will agree on one thing, going to jail.
Immigrant like myself. Okay, so this is hilarious. I guess the left didn't realize we had an election last November, and I guess they think that Donald Trump is still the president. Let's dissect this piece by piece.
Okay, no one does. As a matter of fact, even Biden said the buck stops with him. He started the deal to get us out, by signing that deal with the Taliban and whatever. But and Biden extended it a few months to get other people out. But at a certain point, we were just propping up a fake government.
For one, this is the deal that Trump signed with the Taliban.
Right, but never had the balls to carry out, I think, is the part that you're probably going to leave off.
We were chained to his deal. Well, that's a lie because
that is a lie because none of Trump's deals mean shit. No one follows through on any of Trump's deals. That's absurd.
Number one, that's not the deal we had.
Yeah, no, I mean,
with the Taliban.
No, the deal we had was to leave in May and leave all the Afghan civs behind.
The president of the United States, my old boss, Donald Trump, would never have pulled out in the midst
at all
of the war fighting season. If you do,
he wanted to pull out in May without any prep, leaving the people behind. He would have left the people behind. He would have left them behind.
Something like that, you do it in winter when the Khyber Pass, when
yeah, totally. And May is basically winter, isn't it? I mean, if you were going to make a deal. So this, by the way, this is actually kind of news because Gorka did work with Trump and they did work together. And he obviously they breathe from the same paper bag. He's basically telling you that Trump's May 1st deal was bullshit. It was always bullshit. It was always bullshit because only an idiot would schedule to pull out of Afghanistan in May. You pull out in the winter. So essentially, Sebastin Gorka is telling everyone that Trump was going to punt again if he had made it. If he had actually won the election, which he didn't, he lost fair and square.
Doc is snowed in. The militants stay at home, can't fight. So number one, it's a lie. There's no.
So why make the deal for May 1st then? What kind of an idiot makes a deal for May 1st?
We would have pulled out with the capacity to neither support the embassy or the airport,
which wouldn't be pulling out, by the way. If we still had an embassy and the Taliban took over, we would be recognizing the Taliban, which we don't do.
Insanity. And second, even if that had been our deal, which
yeah,
isn't,
we weren't going to follow through on it. I mean,
what?
You don't think you think read The Art of the Deal. Trump never keeps up his end. That's part of the deal.
Does the Biden administration tell us, oh, and we have to abide by it? The first day in office, we have dozens of executive orders signed.
Yeah, why didn't Biden get rid of this deal the first day he got in? If he had any brains at all, he would get rid. Oh, well, actually, he did. He moved the date. He extended the date a few months obviously in coordination with the Afghans to some degree, but we did extend it like 4 months, 3.5 months.
Senile husk of an old man
who apparently was able to get out of Afghanistan, and your bloated river corpse of a boss couldn't.
Destroy everything we built in the Trump White House. The XL Keystone pipeline.
You mean the Keystone XL pipeline?
With the stroke of a pen, 10,000.
Yeah, it was sweet. Yeah, actually. And a Canadian shale oil.
Jobs gone. Or whether it is the 1776 Commission actually destroyed, dismantled the day of the inauguration.
Yeah, but it didn't actually amount to anything. I mean, let's be completely honest.
Whether it's the sanctions we put in place on Russia to prevent the Nord Stream pipeline being built across Europe.
Which allowed them to circumvent and have multiple streams to get their oil into Europe. Now it's all in one area, so it'd be easy to cut off. Yeah.
He could get rid of those deals, but not the imaginary deal that we had with the Taliban. It is a lie. And what we are witnessing isn't just disgusting, it is disgraceful. He's not just blaming
both
us and my old boss. He's blaming the Afghans, and he's blaming our allies. And I was in the British Territorial Army, a fellow member of my...
You mean the British National Guard? Anybody who watches the original British Office... Right.
Regiment, Colonel Tugendhat, stood up in Parliament the day before yesterday as chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament, our closest allies, and he called out President Biden and said, a beautiful British understatement, the end of his speech, and let me just share this. He said, to those who have never fought for the banners they stand under, I warn them not to criticize those who have.
Oh, you mean like Trump standing in like Arlington or on the graves of soldiers in Europe and saying what was in it for them, that kind of shit.
He's a man who is
Biden's son served.
War veteran from Afghanistan and Iraq. When our closest allies call out Biden, it's just a disaster, Dinesh.
No, it isn't actually. It's a disaster to stay in.
I mean, think about you have the Bagram Air Force Base, and the United States could have easily used that to bring the Americans who are in Afghanistan to the base, evacuated them first, then perhaps...
Then the government collapses because it's obvious we're shutting down our embassy and taking all the Americans out, and we basically had an evacuation order, and that the government at the time that was actually functioning and the military at the time was functioning would have obviously gotten the signal that we're removing not just our military forces, but our embassy as well, because we don't believe in the government, and then the whole thing would have collapsed. Oh, God, the strategic minds.
Destroyed all the remaining Humvees and stuff that's over there because you don't want to leave it
to the Afghan army.
Enemy. I mean, it's a very old principle.
So that's material stuff for the Afghan army. We leave. Afghan army keeps that stuff. Afghan army surrenders. Afghan army is still in the area. We strafe bomb the area to blow the stuff up while I guess holdout soldiers are in the base fighting for Afghanistan. So the ones that were siding with us, who would still be using those materials, would get killed first. And then what?
Warfare, that you don't leave stuff behind.
Sure you do. You leave shit behind all the time. When you've got plenty of it, you don't need it anymore. It happens all the time.
Bad guys can then use against you in the future.
Yeah, oh my God, what happens if Al-Qaeda gets a hold of some Humvees and drives to Florida?
And then close the base at the end. It appears that the Biden people did things...
just close it. Apparently...
The opposite order. They close the base first, and then they scramble to say, and look at their pathetic statements now, things like, we call upon the Taliban to respect women's rights. We are urging the Taliban to protect the safety of Americans. I mean, what kind of superpower behaves like this?
One that is not in a country. One that is not spending somewhere in the order of $140 to $300 million a day to shore up a government that will not stand on its own. That's what kind. That is no longer going to do that.
A superpower that sadly is being run by people who hate America and...
Yes, only people who love America would want our soldiers and our money to be in Afghanistan for fucking ever.
Are a dangerous cocktail, Dinesh, of arrogance and ignorance. It's one of the most dangerous things to have.
Yeah, that should be the name of this interview. But you guys would have to leg wrestle over who is who.
Price, the State Department spokesperson, Jake Sullivan, this national security advisor whose only job in the past was to be Hillary Clinton's bagman at the State Department, to have these people tell the world, we don't know whether it's 11,000 or 40,000 Americans in America.
We don't in America. It's true.
Afghanistan. We don't know how many tens of thousands of Americans are potential hostages. And then...
potential hostages. You mean we know how many embassy staff we have. We know how many Americans we have that are serving over there. We know how many Americans have chosen to go over there for their country, but that does not mean we control every American who's in Afghanistan, just say, doing business on the side. Like, honestly, and maybe Sebastian knows this number, how many Americans are in Afghanistan right now working in the opium trade? I mean, honestly, how are we going to know how to get them out? Do they have someplace to go? Is there a giant caterpillar blowing messages in letters into the sky, telling them where to go?
Nation with 12 nuclear aircraft carriers, with more special forces than most nations have soldiers, have its chief officer, Mark Milley, and the disgraceful Secretary of Defense say, we can't get everybody out. We'll do as well as we can. Well, that's because not everybody wants to get out. Some people are hanging around, and if they don't want to leave, that's not
on America to get them out. One of the freedoms Americans enjoy is to die in a hostile country while trying to do business there.
Hey, Dinesh, with a far, far smaller contingent of forces, is sending their paratroopers out into the countryside.
Which violates the ceasefire with the Taliban that we're using to get our folks out and other people out without a shot being fired at them. And that's why they got dressed down, because they were,
Rescue not only their nationals, Dinesh, to rescue the nationals of the Republic of Ireland as well. It is an embarrassment. And one last thing from a colleague of my wife's at Heritage. Think of this. This year.
Okay, I'm thinking. All right, let's see.
Next month, we'll see the 20th anniversary of September the 11th.
And us being in Afghanistan.
September the 11th was masterminded from the territory of Afghanistan.
Right. And we could have straight bombed and dealt with that from a distance. We didn't have to invade to do it.
Under the
and Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan when we found him.
Protection and succor of the Taliban who were supporting bin Laden. Now, on the 20th anniversary of September the 11th, the Taliban will be stronger than they have ever been.
Cool. Does your jaw hurt from blowing them?
Control all of Afghanistan. And Dinesh, they're going to have the weapons that you, Debbie, myself paid for.
Are they? I understand that you think that the airplanes and the helicopters that they seized from the Afghan... By the way, all the materials that they're getting in these situations are stuff we gave to the Afghan military. So it's not ours. What we paid for was weapons and vehicles and devices. A lot of it we took out. But the stuff that is there is stuff we gave to the Afghan army. We gave it to them. They, in turn, either surrendered it or actively gave it to the Taliban. So his solution and Dinesh D'Souza's solution is that we should stay in there and continue to give weapons and vehicles to people who will eventually, no matter what we do, no matter when we leave, hand it over to the Taliban. So if you think today's trucks are great, wait till you see the trucks we're going to give them in 5 years.
Stronger than ever. This will be the epicenter of the new global jihadi movement. And that lies on the desk of Joe Biden.
Absolutely. When we come...
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if we're not there forever, again, add them to the side that says Afghanistan, 51st state.
I'm going to pivot a little bit with Seb Gorka to domestic affairs and talk a little bit about political prisoners in this country and
political prisoners. We're going to the January 6th assholes, aren't we?
Role of the media.
Oh, that was it? That was the whole thing?